today is the day I'm gonna mess you up! This game has been kicking my ass for the last 30 years, but I feel it! I feel it all the way down in my plumbers. No! And the streak continues. Don't worry about it, by the way. I've got a couple of more of these just in case something like this happens. But since I've got your attention, I'm Dr. Sledgehammer, and let me tell you about the Retron 5. As you can imagine, I already used this console before during my Turtle game reviews back in the early summer. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't have been able to shoot these videos without this console. For one, the first Turtles game was so difficult that it would have taken me forever to complete it without the save function. Seriously, it was kicking my ass. And the third Turtles game, the Manhattan Project, was never released in Europe and cannot be played on a European PAL console. Now you might ask yourself, what is the Retron 5? Let me ask you another question. Do you like retro video games? Well, here we have a game console that plays most games on the Famicom, the Super Famicom, the Nintendo NES, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, the Sega Mega Drive, the Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Advance. And if that's not enough for you, you can also buy the Retron 5 3-in-1 adapter to also play Game Gear, Sega Master System games in both cartridge and card form. And the best part is, you can play games from all regions. You can play Japanese games, you can play PAL games, you can play NTSC games, which means you do not have to miss out on any game out there. Here you see me play a Japan-only game called Nekketsu Kakuto Densetsu. If the style seems familiar to you, then the answer is yes. This is part of the River City Ransom game series and it's freaking awesome. You play in a tag team fighting tournament and you get to whoop the shit out of these noseless assholes on the other team. When I was a kid, I used to play this game in Japanese and I understood nothing. It was a sweet game, so I didn't care, but now that I have the Retron 5, all I have to do is go on a website like romhacking.net, download the language patch, put it on an SD card, add the patch to the game, and I'm set. Now I can play this game in English, which is pretty neat. Japanese games are much cheaper than NTSC and PAL versions of the same game, so this console over here can be a real money saver for you. Plus, you get access to games you never had access to before, and they are uncensored. By the way, in case you want me to review one of the games you see in this video, or if you want to know about installing cheats or language patches, let me know in the comment section below. As you can see, the games look absolutely stunning. That is because your console is connected to your TV via an HDMI cable and the games are upscaled to 720p. You can additionally tweak the graphics of the game by adding different filters. You can, for example, add scan lines to give your games that distinct look you get when playing on the tube television. And it goes without saying, you get to choose what type of controller you want to use. You can, for example, play Sega games with a Super Nintendo controller. And you get to adjust the buttons of each controller any way you like. You have a save function, of course. This is both an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is that with it you're gonna be able to beat difficult games like Castlevania and the first Turtles game much easier. The greatest disadvantage is that now everybody's gonna be able to beat the most difficult classic games out there, and once they learned how to do it, they won't need a save function anymore, and they will start ignoring the flaws of the most shitty games out there. Wait, that's actually a good thing. Anyway, you also have a fast forward function that you can use to accelerate slower RPG games that would be almost unbearable to play otherwise. The first Lufia game, for example, is a masterpiece in terms of storytelling, but an absolute drag in terms of spontaneous battles. The console can do all these things because it doesn't play the games on the cartridges directly, but it rips data from these cartridges to create ROM files. The console also creates a folder that contains save files and settings. And the best part is, when you put the cartridge back in, the games will continue just where you left off. I also noticed that the console has problems running multi-cartridges like this 70-in-1 Super Nintendo multi-cartridge I bought from China. It's not so much that the console has problems running pirated games, it's more that it doesn't know how to extract the necessary information from multi-cartridges. You can use Sega Genesis, Nintendo NES and Super Nintendo controllers if you want, but I personally like the controller that comes with the console because it is wireless and it has all the buttons I need to access the functions of the Retron 5. Straight off the bat, however, the controller is of shit quality and it is rather expensive. To put this into perspective, I paid 200 euros for the entire console set. If I would like an additional controller so Thomas can join me in a gaming session, I would need to pay an additional 50 euros. So screw Thomas, that glutton has cost me so much money he can play with the second piece of shit controller that has a cable that comes with the console. It is more than enough for him. Of course, it goes without saying that the console isn't of the highest quality. For example, last April I wanted to play me some Shadowrun on the Sega Genesis and I noticed that the pins in the Sega slots have been bent by the cartridge, resulting in the entire console shutting down because the console believed that the cartridge is currently playing. The Retron 5 only allows one slot to be used simultaneously, so I had to unbend the individual pins in the Sega slot. Also, some of the cartridge slots are really tight and I have to use much force in order to pull the cartridges back out, which is kinda worrisome. I also heard about a bunch of other issues related to the console, but for the price of the console and the 2 years warranty that comes with it, this console is an absolute steal. Anyway, I was Dr. Sledgehammer and I will see you guys in the next Sledgehammer review. Bye.